Japanese program. This is an old picture from the day, back in the day. We had an interesting group. I think when I started studying in Japanese 101, we had about 150 people. And by the time we got all the way through the end of the speak program, there were five of us left. So it was an interesting filter. The guy next to me is still a really good friend of mine, Ben Judd. If you're in the video game world, he's pretty well known guy too. And a couple of other, Jared on the other side, we stay in touch. So really fun group of people. So just briefly, so you understand the whole frame of my career. Basically, I got into, like I said, I graduated from the Japanese program in '99. I did an exchange program in Joyama, which is up near Ishikawa Prefecture, if you know that. Did that for a year, and that was really good for me because it was also a very rural environment and not many people spoke English. And after that, after I got back, I was just about to graduate, and I decided that I wanted to also learn computer science, so I did another major at Franklin, a small private university here, in computer science. And then after that, I moved to San Diego because I was kind of tired of the winters here, and I worked as a software engineer for 2 years. And got the idea from a friend of mine to take a long extended trip. So I quit my job, my wife and I backpacked around the world for about a year, went through about 15 different countries. But that was a great experience, gave us a lot of perspective on things. And then when I came back, we moved back to San Diego, and I joined my first startup, wasn't my startup, but I joined my first startup experience. And that really got me into I'd always wanted to start my own company, but I didn't really know how, so it really gave me a lot of mechanics, and I could see firsthand how that worked. And then we wanted to live in Japan again, so we lived there from 2008 to 2010, and that's where I started my company. Started it as Ginza Markets, KK, and then there's this program in Mountain View, California called Y Combinator, which is basically like a startup incubator. And so I applied for that and got in, and you basically have to be in Mountain View for 3 months. So we moved back to Mountain View and ended up staying in the Bay Area. We live in Marin County, and I work in San Francisco now. And I'm running this company, Ginzametrics, which is basically an offshoot of this company. We have a distributed team. I'm based in San Francisco. We have a 5-person team in Tokyo. So I go there about 5 or 6 times a year to basically maintain client relationships and work with the team and everything. And we've also got a very international team. So we have people in Canada, we have people in Poland and Pakistan. So we're kind of spread out. I love building things and startups in general. So I'm always trying to work with new founders and advise them on basically how they can make the best decisions, learn from my mistakes, and build good things. So I got into, it's kind of a weird story, but I got into things related to Japan when I was a kid. I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I was walking through the Worthington Public Library and looking for books that I loved to read when I was growing up. And on the top shelf there was this fat green book that I was like, okay, that looks interesting. So I pulled it down from the shelf, and it was this book, Shogun, which you probably all know, which also became a movie. And that book, after reading that, just the whole idea, I knew nothing about Japan. It blew my mind. Everything about Japanese culture is fascinating to me. I've always loved languages and kanji and like hiragana and everything. It was very fascinating to me. So that was my first encounter with. We talk about serendipity in the Bay Area all the time. It's kind of like a, I don't know, California thing, but we can talk about it. But basically, the idea, as I'm sure you all know, is the more interesting and random encounters you have, it's going to open up new paths that you wouldn't really have predicted. And that's been definitely a big theme in my life. I always try to, get out there and do new things and meet new people. And as a result of that, I've had some really fascinating and fortunate experiences. So, my interest in Japanese basically continued all the way from there until college. And I'm trying to get into the Japanese program. I don't know if it's like this anymore, but back in the day, it's really hard to get into, and just because there were so many students that wanted to get in all the time. So I applied for Japanese 101 1 year, and it was too full, so I had to wait for, I think 2 or 3 more quarters. I studied German and got really bored with that. And finally I was able to get in, and got exposed to, as I'm sure anyone that's gone here knows the curriculum. And this the whole curriculum and the whole team here at Ohio State has been probably one of the biggest impacts on my life, just because the way it's structured. I think that I've met a lot of people who have, I'm in Tokyo all the time, and I meet people who come to Japanese from other backgrounds. And there's two kind of major schools of thought here. One is, you should learn how to speak first and basically speak and interact with people verbally. And then there's more of the reading and writing approach. And by far, I have never met people that came to Japanese as a foreigner with a curriculum other than this that actually spoke in a way that I could consider capable and really, really good. The people who came to Japanese from a reading and writing perspective, they just don't have the same verbal command. They don't have the grammar. They don't have the scenario. They don't have the sensitivity to pay attention to what's going on. So I can't say enough good things about the curriculum, and it's been great just for not only Japanese but actually learning in general. The system of drills, all the core conversations, became a really valuable learning tool for learning other skills. So when I went in to learn computer science, I was able to take a lot of the things that I had learned from here as a learning, like a self-teaching system, into pretty much everything else I've done. So I think it's fantastic. So one of the interesting questions that was in the program was, what would life be like without learning Japanese if you hadn't had that impact? And actually for me, because I got into Japan at such a young age, I have no idea what my life would look like. It would be completely different. I met my family and almost all of my business connections, and pretty much everything is centered around Japan in one form or another.